So this is going to be something new for me. Most of you at this point are probably following the tractor videos, but this is a little different. Another one of my hobbies is taking apart electronics just to see how they work. Take apart old stuff, fix it if I can. And sometimes it's an oddball thing. I came across this new studio camera. It does not power up, but I'm going to take it apart. Maybe fix it, try it out, but I don't plan on using it. Maybe just see if I can. So I do this kind of stuff all the time, but I've never done it on video. I watch tons of videos of people doing stuff like this, but we'll try it out. Anyway, it's a Sony color camera from 1974. It's about $5,000 new. But this is what we got. It's pretty crusty. It's been sitting in a garage for a long time. But we got on the side here, there's a camera cable that goes to a recorder. We got video out, power, bunch of controls on the back. Apparently this one's all manual. I don't have a manual for it or anything, but there's a couple videos online. I'll link one of the videos down in the description. It's pretty cool. But this is a model DXC-1200. Got all your controls on the back. There's your viewfinder. That's it. So let me lower it here and we'll plug it in. It does not work. A couple of LEDs do turn on though, but we'll check it out. I want to see the current draw and put it through a meter, see how many watts it's pulling, to be able to tell how much it's possibly powering up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and power it up through this meter here. Let's see what we got. So we turn it on. Drawing 33 watts. Something tells me this camera would draw a lot more than that when it's working, right? Let's see if I can turn this down. We can see the LEDs. Yeah, you can barely see it. The only thing that's lighting up is this green power LED. The auto LED lights up also. But messing with these, I can't get anything else to work. There's no noise, there's no fans. I don't know if there's fans in it. I'd imagine there is. But nothing else is turning on except that LED. So let's open it up. It might just be a teardown to look at stuff, but if I see something obvious, we'll go for it and see if we can make it work, just for fun anyway. Then I'll still eventually tear it all apart. Okay, we'll start with pulling apart the viewfinder. There's one thing I've noticed. There's a lot of screws missing or mismatched, so it's been apart. There's 2 screws in the front here that's not here. Only ones I see is the ones in the back. This is loose. I guess this is a light to show you it's recording. I guess this is the part where I say don't do this at home. There are definitely some lethal voltages here, and even now that it's unplugged, you'd have capacitors holding a charge, and the CRT itself could hold a charge. Alright. Pop the camera loose here, get some close-ups. So start off with, I guess that's a Sony CRT part number. There's a whole bunch of stickers on it, say no user serviceable parts inside. It's pretty dirty in there, pretty dusty. But no, we can see the CRT there. See the flyback. It's kind of dark in there. Okay, I'm not going to open this up further yet. I want to see if I get it to power up. Wants to dig a little more. Alright, so I guess I'll open up a side. I don't know which side to open. We'll start with this one. Alright, so got two flathead screws here, and there's a couple Phillips. On the other side, it looks like it's missing the Phillips screws. So maybe this side hasn't been off, but I'm sure it has. If somebody's been digging in it a little bit, then I'm sure they took all the easy covers off. Alright, that looks pretty neat. Trying to work around the camera is a little rough at times, but okay. These two boards look like they bolt down and slide into a back plane. They're not really labeled. With no manual, I'm not sure what they do. This one says white, let's see, white control. Maybe something to do with the white balance, I don't know. On the top we have a F-SER, SCR. I'm not sure. Got a bunch of transistors, resistors, capacitors. Not sure what these are. The other ones on the other side say Sony. These don't, but could be relays, could be some kind of custom electronics. Alright. So on the other side we have a delay line here. Bunch of trimmers, bunch of electronics. Let's see. This board, I'm not sure what it does either. It says CAR-C, then SEP. But these look a lot cleaner than the stuff on the top. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this back one probably because there's a lot of open space behind here. I want to see what's behind here. Doesn't look open behind that other one. Okay. Sony PR. Hey, looks like there's been some rework done. That spot right there is not the original solder. There's one little spot right here too. Maybe it was cold joints and they resoldered. Seems to be on the back side. There's this transistor there. Actually, maybe that's not a transistor. It's got 1, 2, 3. It's got 5 or 6 leads coming off of it. Labeled as Q30. And no telling. See some voltages. So we got some adjustments here. Positive 12 volts, positive 14, negative 12. Must be the power supply behind this. I think there'd be a transformer or something in here. This is probably before the days of switch mode being super common. But something this high end, you never know. I could be wrong. Maybe it's more common than I thought. Okay. Oops. Okay, this one says PSB up here. Power supply board, maybe? We got a bunch of, let's see, let me go ahead and get the Zoomed in. So we got our connections on the edge. Looks like there's wires here that connect through. It's numbered up to 24 because the rest go down the side. Don't know if it shows up in the camera, but I see 14 volts, negative 12 volts, and 12 volts. And there's these holes here. So that's the adjustments that we see here. What I also see is it says negative 12 volts here, so I think that's a negative 12 volt rail. I see 12 volts on this one. Alright, I got called away for a second there to do something for the kids. Try to remember where I was at. Anyway, got a couple adjustment points for the voltages here. We got a couple test points. I think we're going to plug this in and try it out, see what we got for voltage. There's a 12 volt test point, negative 12 volt test point. And right there you can barely see it says 14 volt. So I'm going to plug it in, test those, and see what we got right there. I just tested these voltages and I wasn't recording. Let me do this again. Now I know what the problem is. It's not near as exciting. Well, nope. Don't know what the problem is, but I know a problem. Not necessarily what's causing it yet. Alright, plugged in, power up. I don't see ground here, so I'm going to try the chassis, and it did work earlier. So on the 12 volt rail, we have 12 volts, 12.08. 14 volt rail, we have 14 even. Negative 12 volt rail, we have 2.5, positive 2.5. So that one is definitely not right. And another thing I did before I realized the camera wasn't on, there's a couple large bus caps here, and I just made sure they were discharged. I already lifted up and looked under here with a little mirror. You can tell where the caps are. Yes, there's one more right there. Yep, 0 volts in all those, so if I grab it, I'm okay. There's a lot of wires under here for this. Let's see if there's room to come up. Well, not much room. I'm going to bring the camera and flashlight around so we can look under there. Alright, I'll try to get a peek under here. Not really set up for this, but okay. Here's what we got. I do see a couple fuses in the back there. I don't see anything obviously burnt, but I can't see it great. There's also 2 fuses on this side. And maybe we just got a blown fuse. I'm going to buzz those fuses out and see if that's an obvious problem. Alright, let me put this back down. Alright, so I'm not sure if this buzzer actually shows up on my noise canceling headset, but so we'll check it here. So we had 2 here and 2 here. So we'll do this one first. That one's good. We buzz in 0 ohms. That one's 0 ohms. That one's open. And that one's 0 ohms. So we do have one open fuse here. Okay, here's the deal. I would not recommend this for any kind of permanent repair. But here I don't really care if I bring out the magic smoke or not. I'm not going to use this. It's just kind of doing it for fun, and it's going to be taken apart and never used. I don't have the right fuse for this. Don't have one to solder in place. So I'm going to solder a single strand of wire across the fuse, and maybe that's thin enough that there's a bad short. It'll open. There's our new temporary fuse. Just this single strand of wire. We'll see. I don't know what rating that fuse is. So this may not even be large enough anyway, but this fuse does not go into a giant bus capacitor like the other ones do. This one right here, this base of a bus capacitor, and this one over here goes into a bus capacitor also, so that's probably not a high surge current, so that wire will probably be fine. Let me back this up in case this lets out the magic smoke when I plug it in, and we can see it. Now we drew 30 something watts before, so turn it on. Oh, I heard some high voltage noise, like the high voltage hum of a transformer, high pitched sound. Oh, CRT's lit. Okay, we're drawing 52 watts. And let me show you the CRT. So we got something going on here. Well, of course it looks crazy in the camera, but it looks all gray to me. Just mess with these white balance knobs, see if that changes anything. Okay, the brightness and contrast brightness changes a lot. Turn up a little. Put the contrast in the middle somewhere. Just messing with these controls, seeing if any of it changes anything. Oh, well, I do have that board out. Wonder if that's something to do with the camera part not working. Let me shut it down, unplug it, and I'll install that board. I will go ahead and put the protector back on top of this, but I'll just do that off camera. Actually, I'll put the protector back on top of this and then the board, but I'll speed through that. Only going to put this down with 2 screws. Wait a second. Just dawned on me. I should go ahead and check my 24-volt rail, see if that's fixed. Just plug it back in, turn it back on, drawing 50 watts. I said 24-volt rail, didn't I? I meant negative 12 volts. All right. Ground and negative 12 volts. Come on, we're at negative 11. It's better than it was. Let me see if we can adjust that. Okay, so this is the negative 12 volt adjustment. There we go, negative 1206. Double check we still got our 14. 13.96, close enough. About 12, we got 12. Okay, so was that blown fuse? Our power supply is back up and running. This might be pretty cool if this turns out working. Alright, now I'll put this all back together. Looks like it might ground on the mounting. I don't know, but doesn't matter which screw, they're all the same ground. So if that's even a ground. Okay. This one over here ooh. This one over here looks easier to get to. Okay, power's off. We're going to try this again. Plug it up. See if we get magic smoke or any picture. Alright, no magic smoke. Drawing 55 watts. And the screen looks the same, but maybe the video tube needs to warm up. So we'll let it sit a minute and see what happens. Alright. It doesn't really show up on this camera anyway if I point it at the CRT, but when I mess with the focus knob on the back, I get a bunch of static. I don't think it'll show up at all. Let's see. Yeah, it's not, but you can kind of see. You see this line across here? That line changes brightness, goes away when I put my hand in front of the lens, so it's picking up some kind of light through there. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's working. And I only get that line when I set it in auto. Go ahead and turn this thing over. Put it upright. It's been on for about 10 minutes now, so if there's any warming up to do, I'm sure it's close enough to do something. Turn it over without touching any of the CRT mess and I'll be alright. Okay, power back on. I really wish this viewfinder showed up in the camera. That's kind of a bummer, but there's a switch here. It says scope. I don't know what this does. But if I flip it up, I get a line. If I flip it down, I get the same, well, similar lines anyway. Flipped up, this line goes to white balance. Then the focus button or knob here. Sort of see what it's doing, but doesn't seem to do much. I'll have this off. Tell you what, there's a little bit of an image there. I can see the shapes on the wall over there, and they move when I move the camera. You can't see it though, but it looks all gray to me with lighter colors. Let's see if I could. That's with contrast. Oh, wait, just focused a little bit. Okay, so this knob down here is the focus knob. I can see my top of my oscilloscope. On one of the spare oscilloscopes over there, I see that picture. I know you can't see it here, unfortunately. Maybe not I can tell what I'm looking at. Ah, there you go. You can see it. See me in the reflection up there too. But this right here. So maybe this does work. If I knew what I was doing. I do auto. Auto clears it up a little more. Yeah, so got something. Hold on, there's a zoom knob over here. Let me see if that does anything. No, that's just another focus, it looks like. Holy cow. Perfect picture. Huh. Alright, looks perfect to me. It doesn't look perfect to this camera. This dang thing actually works. Ha! Awesome. So let's move it over here. There's a sink. Refocus because I'm a little farther away. There we go. That shows up in the camera pretty good. But we're looking at that sink way over there. That's pretty neat. Alright, so now what? Now I got it working. I have this urge not to take it apart, but I'd never use it. So, well, the camera's color, but the viewfinder's obviously not. That's black and white. I can see the filament glowing in the CRT there. I guess this red light on top and red light in here, those probably light up when it's actually recording, which it would not be. It would get its recording signal through this plug. That's pretty cool. It actually works. Oh, that wasn't too hard to fix, just a blown fuse. No telling why it blew. Bouncing around, there's probably something shorted out in there somewhere, but next step's to take it apart. I've never taken a tube type camera apart before, so let's see. This is supposedly the first color camera with a single tube. I guess before this, color cameras had three, one for each color. But alright, so I'm going to power this thing down, make sure everything's discharged and all that good stuff. I won't mess with the CRT part of it yet. Yeah, just leave this assembly on there. Let's take apart the other side that I haven't pulled apart yet. I'll pick this monster up and turn it around. It's pretty heavy, probably weighs 35 or so. I don't know. Alright, looks like all the bottom screws are already off. Okay, looks like some shielding on the left there. But on the right, with all the coax going to it, probably has a good part of processing the video, maybe the output. I don't know, this thing looks really modular. Screw missing there, there's two screws in the back here missing. But since it works, I guess everything's there. There's still something in front. So go ahead and take this off if it'll let me. So I don't know how this lens assembly would come off. Remove this, but that doesn't help me any. That cup off. Some flatheads up here in the front. Don't know if taking this little cover off front will help me or not. Well, I don't know if it helps, but it looks neat in there. Okay. That's kind of cool. So I turn this knob on the back to adjust the focus. Turns the gear, meshes here. When I slide it in and out, changes that. I didn't try that while I was looking through it, but I guess this is probably zoom. Twist it for focus, press it in and out for zoom. Just kind of what it looks like. So, alright, it's getting late. I'll come back and do this some more tomorrow. See you then. Okay, it's now a couple days later. I didn't get a chance to come up here. But also looked at this lens a little more and figured out how to get it off. First thing we need to do, remove this rod here. There's a roll pin. I already tapped on it to get it to come out most of the way. But pull the roll pin out. Hopefully at that point this rod will come out of here. Doesn't act like it wants to. See if I can hold it in place. There. Oh, I guess it has to unscrew. That makes more sense. Alright, so that's loose. In the front of this, on each side, there's these clamps. Other side seems pretty tight. There we go. The bottom one looks just like this. Now you can't see it. Okay. Camera lens. Looking into the end of it here. Looks like that lens is cracked. Not really where it counts. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull off this front. Just see what's behind it. We got 3 wires going in there. Also, this is the one screw left, keeping us from taking this plate off the top. Okay, that last screw out. Oop, this thing lifts up. Let's look at this a little closer. So I see markings on this board. Heater adjust, focus adjust, horizontal center, vertical center, but it's just marking resistors, it looks like. Maybe just component locations. And there's another one under there, shielded. It's probably high voltage. Actually, from here I see video, positive 12 volts, E, and T bias. But not sure. I'm going to go ahead and remove this board. It's got an edge connector over here. And this, which looks like it unplugs. Yep. Some more spots that look like they could have been reworked. Wonder if it was or if that was solder after the fact. Maybe somebody trying to fix this took it apart and just soldered all the joints that looked bad. I don't know. Okay, let's see what's under this cover. Thought that might unplug, but it doesn't look like it does. Let's try with pliers. Yeah, they're just stiff. I'm not going back together with it, so I don't care what goes where at this point. So these, remember the 3 wires that run down to the front lens? They're soldered in, so I'm going to just snip them. So this will come up. Can't quite tell what's in there, so let's open this one up. Alright, no markings. See, we got some capacitors, 6.3 volt, 10 volt. Which doesn't seem like it's high voltage. And here is, looks to be a transformer of some type. I've never actually looked up to see how these video tubes work. Guess if I did, I'd know a little more about it. I'll have to look it up once I'm done with this. There's a cover that looks like it covers part of the tube. Got some shielding in there. Looks like it all bolts in from the bottom, then it'll come out. Looks like we'll have to get this board off. Just a capacitor and a resistor. Not sure what it's for, but it's in line with something on the CRT. This thing is heavy. Big chunk of aluminum. Back of our video tube. I'll tear this thing apart at the end. Alright, looks like some possible high voltage goodies up there for the tube. Nothing else in the front. I think I'll go ahead and remove this board. Once again, no real description of what this is. It says EN on it, and most of them have some kind of code like that. This one, for instance, DF, and that probably means something. I don't know much about this camera or these type cameras in general, so wish I knew more about it or had a service manual. What we got in there? We can see that power supply board on the other side. It's kind of deep down though. It's a little dark in there. We got this, which I think is a transformer. Just says made in Japan and has a part number on it, but there's a cluster of wires coming out of it. So I think that's going to be a transformer that feeds the low voltage to the power supply board to be regulated. Alright, at this point I'm going to cut a wire. This particular wire here goes up into the high voltage side. That I believe is going to be probably video from the tube into here, possibly, or maybe just something to do with control. This coax that does run on up to here. That's your mains coming in, power switch, then your mains go back out into this box. So yeah, I think that's a transformer. These wires plug on the front control panel. And these go down to the power supply board. I'm going to just go ahead and cut those. This is destructive disassembly at this point. Let's see. This cluster of wires goes to the CRT in the viewfinder. I think I'm going to go ahead and take that out too, just to get stuff out of the way. Got a ground wire there. Go ahead and take care of the mains, just to get this out of the way. So in this assembly here, where we got our inputs and outputs, there's a board on the back with no components. There's just wires tied to it. Let's take a look at the other side, flipped over. We already had this board out. Power supply board's under it. One screw. Let me go ahead and pull this. I already showed you that one. Take this one out next. This one is marked CR. Now that we're cutting the stuff, the power supply board will be easy to get out. And when we cut that, it actually unplugs from the back plane. Okay. These are all our outputs. These are all the AC inputs from the... Can't even see half of these here. Hold on. These are all the outputs. These are all the inputs from the transformer. Board. Here's the fuse that was blown. A 1 amp fuse. Looks like a couple regulators on there. A few diodes. Yep. We got 2 sets of 4. These are probably set up as a full bridge rectifiers. Alright, we got the control panel on the back. And we have the CRT viewfinder stuff on the top. Get the CRT out of the way first. If anybody's interested in one of these cameras, it looks like there's a bunch of them on online for $100 and under. This one I picked up for $20 on Facebook Marketplace. Wonder if I could use this CRT setup for anything. Might be kind of cool to try. Okay, on this side, I think I'll unscrew this flathead maybe. Alright, so there's a Phillips screw on the end of it, it looks like. Can't get to that with all the stuff there. No, it's actually an Allen. Matching screws under it. Okay, I'm going to see if I can hold the backside with these pliers while unscrewing this. Alright, there we go. Yep, that's what we had, little Allen. So I could probably do the same on this side. This wire actually comes through and connects to this connector in the back. But I gotta take a lot apart to get that to thread through, so I'm not worried about that right now. But here's our CRT assembly, or viewfinder assembly that contains a CRT. We'll look at that a little closer in a bit. Alright, next we're going to pull the back off, where the controls are. Actually, let's check out this box on the bottom here. There was a couple of wires came from the power supply and went down here. It looked like some kind of connector possibly, or component. Let's see. Hey, voltage regulators or transistors. I haven't run those numbers, but probably voltage regulators, given it was part of the power supply. Get these screws out of the way. Okay. Sure if you can see in there, but here's where those wires are. Down here on the sticker it says CTB board R28 type FMR 22 ohm quarter watt. That's weird, like they're designating a calling out a certain resistor. I don't know, R28's hidden to me apparently. But none of these resistors look like anything special. 40s, R28, there we go. This one right here. For some reason, there's a sticker under there that calls that out for a specific resistor. That's odd. Or maybe it's not. I think I haven't run into it before like that. Alright, tell you what, I may not go too much further with this. I'll take out this back plane, but I'm not going to pull out the transformer. There's nothing real exciting there. It's a transformer that looks heavily shielded. That's about all I can tell. There is some electronics up here we'll take out. I forgot about those. Nope. There's a bolt behind the transformer that won't let that out. Oh well. So there's a box here on top with some electronics. Let's see what we got. This I'm going to imagine is the high voltage side of the tube. It says warning, high voltage inside. Oh, that slides into the backboard too. Maybe that's why it wouldn't slide out. Alright, there's also a couple video cables going in. Pop these out. Got a couple ICs. Didn't look at any dates on these before, but these are 25th week of 72. This one. Can't quite see any more codes here. Yeah, it's 42nd week of 72 on that ceramic chip there. It's a pretty dirty board. Got this separate one over here with a few wires. Not sure what they do. Then we got some high voltage stuff inside of there. So let's go ahead and pull that board out and take a look. This one goes to the video tube. This plug goes right on the back. So this board drives that. So this is where we get our original video signal in. Let's see, what are these? Alright, got some capacitors on here, resistors, transistors, a couple of little transistors, transformer. Let's dig a little deeper in this video tube. Just right off the bat, this looks like an adjustment screw to level it, possibly. Just moving a yoke back and forth in there, maybe. Let's start with taking off this front piece. Okay, looks like the tube's coming out. Does it come off? No. Sony CT-1011. Amazing that these things do what they're supposed to do. I'm going to take this off with a smaller screwdriver. And this little flathead I happen to have sitting right here fits, so I won't go get the other. Okay, so this is that lens that seemed to be cracked a little. It's not cracked through the viewing section. Not sure what that is. There were these 3 wires that went to that. I don't know. See if we can get it down just to the tube. Alright, so these 2 contacts, I believe that's, I don't think that's part of the tube. Let's see if these little retainers come out and tell us anything. I guess this is true exploratory because I know nothing about this. Alright, don't break it. Yeah, it doesn't move easy. think I see some kind of flange in there. Yeah, that might be as far as it comes apart. I'm going to take these electrodes off just so they're out of the way. Maybe that thing's desk art now. I don't know. That's kind of cool though. The cleanest part in the whole camera. This thing here is heavy. Let's see what it's got in it. And it is a pretty substantial piece of aluminum, but this looks like steel in there. Okay. So that is the yoke like you would find on a CRT. Okay, I don't think that's going to come off. I'm going to guess that inside of this there's a coil of wire of some type, but actually maybe I can loosen this up and get it to do something. Okay, that's mounted on an eccentric to adjust something. Yeah, whatever this is, it's epoxied in, probably. It's at least soldered. Tell you what, I could go to the destructive route and open that up. Let's see. I'm not really going to need this part either, so. It's pretty heavy. Yep, see some windings in there. And foam, which is a pain. But I don't know, that's probably about a 1/4 inch thick, maybe a little less. Some of it's going to be the plastic, but it's just a coil of wire to create a magnetic field around it. So that one goes in there. That's what it takes to receive video. Or actually, that's what it takes to make video. Yep. There we go. That's the control over the CRT. Had a separate circuit board to run the yoke. Alright, so this viewfinder could actually be useful somehow. Could probably hook it up and make it work. Tracing out the wires. There's a switch on the side that's not normally accessible. Not sure what it does. Quite a few adjustments. 12 volts, focus, R size. These are the ones accessible from the outside. Says IND next to that adjustment indicator, maybe? I don't know. It says CLM, SMP, SL1, SL2. Port on the side seems to control more of the CRT. Remove this top one, see where it goes. Where do these wires go? Looks like they go straight out to the connector going to the camera. So if that's the case, that doesn't have anything to do with the CRT directly. They were just needing a place to mount it, maybe. Let me try to buzz these out. First one. Doesn't mean they don't go somewhere else, but okay, so these definitely just go out here. Yeah, it goes in the harness one direction to here, so 4 of these pins have nothing to do with the CRT. Get this wire out of here. I'm gonna separate this wire just to keep track. Okay. So we got 2 coaxes. Most likely they're going to be video, or at least one of them. I wonder if it'd be vertical and horizontal separate. Yes. So in this box here, earlier I thought this was the flyback because it sort of looks like it, but it is not. The flyback's going to be in this metal box here. So it's a separate flyback. Go into the CRT. These are the wires going to the CRT driver board. So this has a 12 volt adjust on it. I wonder what voltage it's fed with. All the connectors seem to be labeled okay. I forgot my flashlight, unfortunately, down at the house. Tell you another thing here. Remember that sticker that told us what resistor was used? So here's telling us a CMB board R4 and 5 uses a 68 ohm half watt. Which one's the CNB? Oh, this is the CNB. The one we're pulling off. So it's weird. Alright, solar wire connectors just have numbers. They don't actually have voltages labeled. There is a negative 24, but I think that's just a board number. There's no V after it. I saw that on another board too. On the edge like that. Okay. No clues there. Put this back.